of course, St. Clair College absolutely loving this map. This was their pick for the counter pick. Of course, in the TESPA rule set, if you do end up going down a game, you get to pick the map for the next one. I'm curious, this looks very similar as of something we had saw them pull out yesterday, actually, during the CSL Overwatch tournament, where you get Symmetra and Bastion, and you just teleport the Bastion all over the place while on attack. So I'm looking forward to seeing how St. Clair pulls this off. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what Shawnee State does until the actual battle has begun. Justin actually going back to more of a support role, actually, with the Baptiste. Meanwhile, it's going to be Crypt who's going to take over the DPS role on the Bastion. So a little bit of a role switch in between games here. See how that affects, and it looks like Shawnee was up on the high ground to try and defend. That could be a possible Bastion setup. We will see momentarily. Yeah, it does sound like there is a Bastion on their side. So the Bastion battle between Crypt and the Shawnee State member. That was actually a pretty sick wall there for Walla. They did switch off the Symmetra. Crypt getting peppered really badly off the start of this. It's going to try and force the members of Shawnee State down. And sure enough, that's 2 members down already for St. Clair. But Jussie and Walla getting on the board, trying to keep this thing going. It's the ice block on the point. You cannot absorb anything Maybeam related. So Sigma is going to get peppered and continues to just get frozen down. And St. Clair able to hold this. They have 1 tick on the board already, with only the Orisa contesting on the low ground. Walla right there in front of him again. The reinforcements are coming though, but so is Crypt. Crypt has gotten the kill onto HR Prime, so that's the big DPS down. And a little bit of a messy start, but they do manage to get the initial capture here on the first point of King's Row. Now it's time to escort that cart. Maybe Walla trying to push that thing up. Meanwhile, a Crypt in the front lines, just waiting for any of the members of Shawnee State to come around that corner. Just shred them to bits. Although sneaky little play there from the Sigma, actually. Crypt is going to try and jump at him, but Sigma is going to just absorb all of that damage, giving himself a little bit of a shield for now. You know, from the flank, actually, that Pharah is extremely low, and Jussie once again proving that supports can frag, taking down the Pharah. Okay, Crypt once again finding his spot, and Kingdom Heart and Crypt are going to be able to shred this completely. It's going all the way through the street and just chasing down. I believe that is another Baptiste on the side of Shawnee State. Jussie taking care of one, and then it looks like Shawnee State does not. Either they're really just trying to contest this to slow it down, or they have absolutely no clue what they're doing, to be completely frank. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're just trying to stall this at least a little bit. But some of the choices have definitely been odd, as it seems like they're just kind of trickling in here. Yo Adrian going down on the Moira. Crypt again just shredding. 3 ultimates, almost 4, ready on the side of St. Clair as we get to that final portion of King's Row. Oftentimes saw as one of the harder spots to actually try and capture, just trying to get it around this dang curve here. And we're going to have, oh, that's a bit of an odd positioning there for Crypt, but he does have the ultimate from Baptiste to try and amplify some damage, but he's getting lifted up by the Flux on the side of Shawnee. But here we go, they're both just trading Baptiste ults alongside Bastion damage, and it is for sure doing a truckload of DPS. Walla in the front lines, actually, being a mini tank himself, popping that ice block, keeping them safe, and it was actually good enough to get them around this corner. They're going to try and focus down HR Prime as he popped his tank form to try and contest this. That Sigma's a little bit caught, but that is actually going to be the tank form from Crypt as he tears through most of them until he got frozen, actually. But luckily, the rest of the crew on St. Clair able to keep him alive, keep the kills coming. And that is going to be a full 3-pointer here for St. Clair College with 4 minutes and 19 seconds on the clock. A fantastic run here through King's Row. just some of the decisions I saw Shawnee State doing during the streets phase just really confused me. They did really well in on point one. Then once I got captured, it seemed like they just kind of trickled in one at a time. They didn't quite act like they didn't quite reset and just get the chance to go for full 6v6s, just one after another, feeding to the May, feeding to Jussie on the Baptiste, as well as Crypt on the Bastion. So I'm really interested to see now what Shawnee State does opt to try here for the attack onto this first point. St. Clair College it's not unreasonable for them to full hold on this map, as they've done it a handful of times so far this season alone. And it looks like it's about a very, very similar setup as to what they have done before, where we're seeing a little bit more Baptiste compared to Mercy Lucio. Or Lucio Moira. Alright, Damage, Couch, and Crypt are actually going to stay up here on the high ground, kind of mimicking a little bit of what we saw Shawnee State do. And sure enough, they're going to go around the long way, but the damage-boosted Bastion could be scary if they line up correctly. And sure enough, HR Prime getting a little overzealous. I think he may have gotten halted, actually, by Damage. So nice little pick there for St. Clair. Now, they are on to the point. They almost got a tick on it. Crypt barely hanging on for his life, just trying to do some extra damage, but actually, Shawnee State coming in with some heavy damage. They just got St. Clair in an extremely odd position, like very hard to contest points, and they just got eaten alive. So here I am talking about full holds, but it's actually looking Shawnee State going to be able to get the very first point on the very first attack. And Crypt's got to be careful. You can't really go head-to-head like that versus a Reaper, especially one who's been doing some pretty decent damage like HR Prime. Now that Maywall is just absolutely irritating right now for St. Clair, and pop comes the Bastion, just takes down two with Couch finishing those off. Okay, so unlike what we had saw from Shawnee State, once the first point got caught, they kind of got a little bit messy. St. Clair is like moving up as a group. They have like reset for this 5v6 or 6v6 setup. And there we go. Okay, here comes the Baptiste ult, and this is just going to shred through everybody. HR Prime almost going down, but that Maywall actually coming out from Shawnee State, lifting up Bastion to the point where he can't use the Baptiste ult for his advantage. Crypt barely hanging on by the skin of his teeth, but he is going to eventually go down. Wall has been right into the middle of this as well, trying to take out HR Prime, get the big DPS out. Right as the Death Blossom comes up, though, he does get the Meteor Strike. He's going to come on down. Couch going to pick up a double, and Walla going to clean up Sigma. Still three members of Shawnee State all grouped up, and this is exactly what Walla wants to see. So much splash damage, and he's going to try and keep chasing down the support line of Shawnee State. The reinforcements are on the way, but they're all kind of scattering at this moment. That Maywall could have been dangerous from Shawnee, but wasn't quite enough for them to capitalize, as a bunch of their members were still out of commission. We have the Flux, we have the Bongo, and there's the Bongo coming up for some damage amplification, and Walla going to get the first kill. That's a Blizzard coming out, but it doesn't matter. Walla just going to jump into it anyway, and Crypt firing in from the outside, doing a ton of damage. This is going to be another team wipe for St. Clair College, just trying to chase down the final members. One or two are going to get back to their spawn, but another nice hold in the streets for St. Clair. Wallace sitting in a pretty scary position. He was looking for the flank, but he was going to get spotted out. Has some high ground, and okay, they popped the invulnerability field rather quick, thinking that that was a Death Blossom coming out. Walla going to pop down with a Meteor Strike, but he's going to use it defensively or on the point. He's going to try and chase after HR Prime, but he's going point blank into him, and he's not going to win that trade. St. Clair forced to retreat at this point. There is a Graviton Flux here if he wants to opt for it. Couch is sitting in this front line. That shield doing a lot of work for him right now. And Vulnerability Field coming out as well, but it is going to go down. And St. Clair were able to pretty much retreat with the only casualty, I believe, being Crypt in that case. Between the Maywall and the shotguns of HR Prime's Reaper, that was a ton of damage. Really hard to actually escape that. Waller going to try and get aggressive, but he kind of put himself a bit out of position. HR Prime going to punish him for that. Couch in Invulnerability Field, but does fall out as... Oh, they took it out anyway. So sure enough, Shawnee State going to be able to get themselves 2 points with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. So no matter what, they're going to have a time shorter than St. Clair, but it could at least force this to overtime, which anything could happen, of course. Okay, I'm going to fire out the ultimate, but again, here comes... Oh, that's a huge combo. We got the Flux into Death Blossom. A complete team wipe here on St. Clair College. Coach going to just try and jump off just to reset. And this cart is coming in fast. We have some members of St. Clair coming in. We have Damage coming in hot, just trying to contest this thing. See if he can at least get there. He is, for the time being. And we have the Blizzard right on top of the point as well. This is a lot of CC, but here comes a solid Flux actually from Couch, who's going to be able to take down 2. But can his teammates get here in time? I don't think they are going to be able to. So we're going to have 3-3 overtime rounds here for game number 2. St. Clair with 4 minutes and 19 in the bank. Meanwhile, Shawnee State sitting there with 2 minutes and 39. So that's still, like, sure, the time advantage is in St. Clair's hands at the moment. But that's still a lot of time to work with if you're Shawnee State. 2 minutes, 39 seconds isn't bad. You can definitely get many pushes done if you're focused.
You needed a goddess?
All right, so St. Clair is going to be on defense first for these overtime rounds, bringing a very similar setup compared to what they did last time. Instead of the May, though, on instead of Walla's May, it's going to be the Symmetra coming out. I think that's the only change we see here for St. Clair College. Now, credit to Shawnee State. They didn't exactly have that hard of a time there. The May did a lot of work with the May walls in that very first push. So let's see how they handle this one again. Okay, so they actually set up a teleporter for the low ground if they do happen to get pressured here. And sure enough, Crypt again is going to get pressured, but this time, instead of getting messed up by the Maywall, just going to teleport to the side. So he's still in okay position, but that is going to be a single tick right now onto the very first point. It's a lot of damage coming out for Crypt, but he is going to get smoked by the accretion. Still living, though, and then St. Clair able to at least keep this thing contested for a little bit longer, almost 2 ticks, and that's accretion right to the face of Crypt. But Walla's got this thing charged up, and it's doing a ton of damage, just trying to take down the Sigma. Does finally do so. Arisa is right there. He's the only one left here, and I believe Jussie, coming down with the melee attack, going to clean this up. So St. Clair College only giving up the single tick on the first point for this first push anyway. 1:40 on the clock here for Shawnee State University. Of course, this is a best of 3, so if Shawnee State do manage to win this game, that is going to be the set in their favor. And that was actually a pretty interesting setup from Shawnee State. I don't know if I saw that necessarily correctly, but they had split defenses, or split their offense rather. So when the teleport happens, they are going to run right into somebody. But Crypt was able to eat that up anyway, so that push does get shut down. Although unless they fire off the teleporter again, they're going to be stuck on the low ground this time by. We have a minute left on the clock for Shawnee State. Okay, they're actually going to go all the way to the high ground but that Mei wall is going to be an absolute nuisance. Are they going to allow the Reaper to get this flank? But he's actually going to... Oh no, Crypt falls right into a Blizzard from the Mei. So it was actually a pretty solid play. The teleporter from St. Clair actually going to bite them in the rear here. And the first point is going to go over to Shawnee State, but they only have 30 seconds on the clock to try and push this thing as far as they possibly can. Okay, St. Clair regrouped and good to go, trying to shut them down in this streets phase. They don't want to give them too much distance. And again, the teleporter comes down, but it's too late. The Mei wall pushing him away from it. That is going to be the Death Blossom coming down from HR Prime, and 2 kills going down because of it. That's going to be another wipe. So the push from Shawnee State, as long as there's somebody on that cart, will continue to move. Of course, for those who do not know, for these cart pushing maps, the escort maps, as long as somebody is within range of the cart, the overtime counter will not tick down. But as soon as everybody's off it, it'll shoot down really quickly. So somebody has to stay attached to that thing at all times. That's going to be the Flux, but a good dodge there from Jussie. Couch is the only one who's going to get caught in it, but he should be able to get healed up. I know Jussie's pumping as much healing into the team as he can at this moment. Walla going to be the first one to get the kill, but it's actually, in the meantime, the second point going over to Shawnee State. So in the chaos, they do manage to sneak themselves at least one more point. HR Prime almost going down. And there's actually a pretty solid Flux coming out from Couch. He's going to get 3 members in that at least. But the sound barrier coming out from the Lucio on the side of Shawnee State doing very good, keeping everybody alive. Crypt switching over to the Reaper, doing a bunch of damage, but it had to get out of there until Shawnee managed to take him down. And sure enough, Shawnee State still just relentless on this push. HR Prime getting a little over aggressive though, and he's going to be forced to Wraith walk out of there. They round this cart around the corner. The hard part of this map is technically done, but it's only a matter if they can clean this up. That's actually a solid halt. They do manage to take down the Orisa. So, nice shot there for Damage. It's just a matter if they could clean this up, and it looks like Walla is slowly but surely starting to pop off here. The Deadeye going to finish it off. And damage control complete. They at least did not allow the 3-point capture again. But that cart went a really, really far distance. That definitely hurts if you're St. Clair College. With only the 2 minutes and 30 seconds on Shawnee State, they're able to almost complete the map after they had almost full held it at the first point. Definitely hurts, but now it's their turn to attack, and they have 4 minutes and 19 seconds here to just try and get a little bit further than Shawnee State did.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Barrier in place.
15 seconds to go time. It looks like we're going to have a relatively similar attacking pattern. Our attack strat here for St. Clair College does seem to also be the same one that Shawnee had used for their attack. So let's see how they manage here with 4 minutes and 15 seconds now to try and get this further. Jussie going to try and keep everybody alive here because they have to just escort that Bastion. That was a solid wall there from Walla, though. He's going to be able to get themselves onto the point. They are starting to capture some of this already. Getting it down to the first tick. It's going to force a lot of the members of Shawnee to go down. But Couch is going to, or Crypt's actually going to go down. Kingdom Heart going down. Damage going down. A lot of members of St. Clair are dropping at this point. There isn't a lot of damage left here. Just Wallach, he can stall for at least a little bit here on the point. But it's going to go down probably just before that second tick. All right, so a relatively successful first push here for St. Clair College. And that was actually a pretty sick separation there for Wally. He did manage to completely split off that Sigma with that ice wall, but nobody else was there. So unfortunately, the huge pick going to, or not going the waste, but not able to get as much as he had hoped. The Mage are going to try and pull people up, but Crypt is just getting smoked on these initial like entry to the area. But Kim Hart's going to at least bring him up right away. And they're actually trying to flank from behind. Nice little halts there, going to force the Moira to fade. Crypt's going down again, though. Unfortunately for him, that's going to be the Valkyrie coming out from Kingdom Heart, trying to keep everybody alive, but with the Flux coming out from the side of Shawnee State, that is going to be a forced retreat. And I think they did manage to just touch that second tick. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds now on the clock for St. Clair College, and they need to get not only this point, but the next one and push it a little bit further to try and send this into a game 3. But I don't know about you, but it feels like they're just they're reaching right now. They're just like struggling to try and find which strategy they want to go for. Crypt is opting for the Reaper, and he is going to get the flank actually on them, but the Bongo coming out from the side of Shawnee State is going to just tack on so much extra damage. And yeah, like Crypt has to drop in order to do a bunch of damage, but he's going to get melted as the rest of St. Clair have. Looking a little rough right now for St. Clair. They have no ults on deck. 2 are almost here, but it's definitely looking rough. That back corner defense from Shawnee State doing some pretty decent damage against us right now. Ooh, Justy turns the corner and just essentially got smoked. Gonna try and get teleporter. Okay, I like the little strat they pulled off. They're gonna get the flank into that corner. But who is gonna be the one to deal the damage? Who's gonna drop first? It's an extremely scary area, and Couch is ready with the Flux momentarily, sitting there just 1% away. Same thing with Damage. A teleporter coming out again for Walla, but how are they going to try and tackle this? That's going to be the Coalescence coming out from Jussie, was able to keep somebody alive down there. And here comes the brawl. This is what they needed right now more than ever. But it's going to be HR Prime coming down with that tank form, just completely cleaning house. From having 4 minutes and 19 seconds, St. Clair is down to 45 seconds to try and get this final capture.
Dead yet.
It's going to be extremely stressful. The time is now 30 seconds on the clock. This will be their final push if they cannot take this. All right. They charge in. That Accretion going to smoke somebody, but that's going to be a good Flux. It's going to take 2, I believe, up, but you won't see it too much because they're kind of caught on the building. And 2 members of St. Clair getting dropped extremely quickly. Crypt's going to get 1 kill, but HR Prime and the rest of the squad here at Shawnee State are going to get the full hold on Kings Row, giving St. Clair the 0-2 loss.
Play of the game.